Let's go back now in time. Just a minute. You younger ones, if you've been hit by what they call the thunderbolt of love, you know what I mean? And you just in love. Love turns you on from the inside. Listen to me. You don't look the same. It's true. An old tired look. All of a sudden you get life from somewhere. And people begin noticing you. Oh, you look so different. They say, well, what is it? Well, you don't know how to answer this. I don't know. Maybe it's my diet. Maybe you know what it is. It's that man. Is that right? And she has an effect on you, brother. She's in your mind, you know? He's in your mind. You're supposed to be on your job, concentrating. Here he comes. Pow. They see you on the job with your foot on the pedal of the machine, you're a seamstress, and machine ain't going, you know what I mean? Or it's going, but you ain't with it. You sewed up the wrong side of the material. And the foreman said, what's the matter with you, girl? I'm just in love. Now that's serious. That love is powerful. It affects you. When you love somebody like that, don't you call them? As fast as you can get to the phone. Hi, honey. They call you. You get so much joy out of each other's company. But what is it about this thing called love that got you so hooked up now? It's because that person satisfied a need in you. You needed something, that's the person that filled it. And because they fulfilled the need, that just makes the love in you just grow, 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 grow. But I said it's a secondary inclination. After a while, something happens. As it did happen, didn't it? Didn't it happen? Your little bubble got busted, right? What happened to that beautiful love affair? It's gone. And left you broke up, tore down, beat up. Now people look at you and say, we know what happened. Say, why are you looking like that? I fell out of love. Now you know why you fell out of love? Many reasons, but one of the main reasons is there was no balance in the relationship. You see, we have a need in us that only God can fill that void. I'm talking about the first inclination. Now, I want you to follow me carefully because this is the most important point I'm going to say today. But if you have not found God, didn't even know you needed him, then you take the love of the man and the love of the woman and you put them in the place of God. That's how you can sing these crazy songs. I love you, baby. And if you leave me, I sure would die. I mean, that's heavy stuff there, brother. Say, when you left me, baby, the sun just wouldn't shine. I mean, now that's heavy, brother. That's why they call them blues, you know what I mean? And you're all messed up because you took a secondary inclination, made it the primary inclination, and then lost your balance in that relationship. Are you listening to me? Please, wait. Just give me a couple more minutes, all right? And you can explode if you want it with applause, but I really want you to listen to this. Okay. Now, I was in show business, okay? I guess you could tell. And nigga, when did you leave? Oh, the minister had to get, I had to get that first part off, you know what I mean? It was weighing heavy on me, this is the truth. I came here with a beautiful subject for you, but that first part was so heavy, I had to get it off because I'm really pained to see how we rejected the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and still do. And every day more and more truth is coming out to show how right on the man was. And all I'm suggesting to us is, it's okay if you're alive, let's come back to that man and what he taught. And I mean your life will change for the better. That's all I'm saying there. But with this balance thing, which is very, very important. I was in show business, and I have a very tough mother, you know, bless her heart. She's a great black woman. I mean, she's real dark, real beautiful. And I mean, that's the cause of my love for black people. That black woman drilled it into me to love black people. And if she saw me inclining the other way, she would bust that inclination up. She put the violin in my hands at 5 years old, and she went without stockings to give my brother and I music lessons. She sacrificed for us. But she was a strange kind of mama. I didn't understand at all. I was scared of her because she was so highly intelligent. With no father around, she was so heavy till no man could handle her. I can understand. And I feel sorry for so many of you sisters. You so far ahead of men till they just can't give you no kind of comfort on this level. And it makes it so painful in life. Well, my mother was like that. I mean, she could take a dime and milk a dime and make a dime grow to $1 while a man was looking at $1 fall to a dime. I mean, this woman, this woman is something. This woman was so frugal and so intelligent. She would leave her house and could come back in later and find out that somebody else was in her house. She said, well, son, did you have somebody in here while I was gone? Oh, no, ma, no. Then she smacked me. Ma! I want the truth, boy. Well, yes, ma. How did she know? She knew where everything was. And if it moved a hair from the way she had it, she knew somebody moved it. She was so meticulous about everything. You couldn't go to our drawers today. When I say our drawers, I mean our dresser drawers. Please. Please now. And you know what's in all your drawers. But that woman knew what was in this drawer, what was in that drawer. I don't care if it's 100 things in there. She knew exactly where everything was. She was very orderly, in other words. She was not a confused person. Now look, but she was strange. I'd go play the violin, my brother played the piano, the people just break up. I mean, and tear the house up. She just sitting there with her hands folded. I'm looking at her, you know. People going crazy, mom ain't saying nothing. So I said, this is strange, you know what I mean? Maybe we didn't do too good, Alvin. When we get home, mom would say, you did well. But I heard a few mistakes, so you go and practice some more, you know? She didn't know music. She couldn't read nothing. But every time we made a boo-boo, she heard it, brother. Now, I'm saying that to say something else. My mother did not give me, you know what children like? They like their parents to praise them. Oh, you're beautiful. You're wonderful. Take time and wrestle with you and hug. She was too busy scrubbing white folks' floors, being on that machine, sewing, making money. She ain't had time to hug me and give me all that kind of thing that normal parents give normal children, you understand? So I didn't think the woman, loved me. But I could never go to my drawer and open my dresser drawer and not find underwear there. Clean and ironed, shirts there, clean and ironed, socks there. Look here now. I ain't never slept on a dirty bed. Don't know what a dirty bed looks like. Don't know what a dirty home looks like. Except I went in somebody else's house, but not in mine. That woman was clean to the core, man. Do you hear me? I never knew what it was to go to bed hungry. Though that woman might only have a quarter in her pocket, she knew how to make nothing and turn it into something so that our bellies could be full. So I didn't know no hunger pain. She showed love in a way that as I grew older, I would understand it, and thank God she's still alive where I can tell her. But many of you have grown closer to your parents in death because you understand them more as you live more of life. Now look at this. When I ran track, I was an excellent dash man. And my mother never came to see me run. You understand this, man? I'm running, I'm breaking records, equaling records, city champ, this and that and the other. She ain't there. My brother's state champ in the hurdles and the high jump, she ain't there. She ain't interested in no sport. Well, she must have been following the Quran, before we knew what the Quran was, because this Quran don't give nothing for sport and play. So when I began to play and sing, this was the thing that gave me gratification. Because I wanted to be something in life, don't you? Yes, sir. How do you know that you're growing to be something in life? It's when people acknowledge what you do. So if you're a seamstress, if you're a beautiful woman and you win a beauty contest, all the little things that make people notice you and you stand out, these are the things that give you what they call self-worth. Don't you want to be worth something? I do. But here's the imbalance. This planet is inclined 23 degrees 30 minutes to the plane of its orbit. So it has a very special path that the Earth follows, that Mercury does not follow, no other planet follows. So do you have a very special gift that God gave you, and you will incline to the path of your gift. Do you follow me? If it's basketball, in order to be a great basketball player, what must you do? Right. If you're going to be a boxer, if you're going to be a chemist, if whatever you're going to be, whatever your discipline is, if that's the inclination that God has given you, then the only way you can be great in it is you got to do what? Sacrifice and give it time and hard work so that you can become a master of your own inclination. Now, here's what happens. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, great basketball player. Muhammad Ali, great boxer. Whitney Houston, was that girl Janet Jackson? Anita Baker, beautiful songstresses. Some of our brothers and sisters in mathematics and chemistry and business and whatnot. If this is what makes you feel that you are somebody, then you incline to that, but then you get out of balance. Because I got out of balance as a musician. My wife sits here. I worked on my music 8 and 10 hours a day. And I would go in a room and shut the door. And she would not disturb me because I didn't want to be disturbed. I come out when I want to eat. Now you say the man's nuts. Well, I'm one of the 30 million. I said we all was crazy in one way or another. That's an imbalance. My wife is there. She has needs. Do you care? Really, no. You say you do, but deep down inside, you don't care. And you know how you excuse yourself? You say, honey, the more I work at this, you'll be able to have all the nice things in life. But the real reason is, the more I work at this, the more I'll be somebody. And it means more to me to be somebody than to be something to somebody else. That's imbalance. That's madness. Do you hear me, brothers? Every one of us that want to be something in life, we put our time where we love. And we love our job, we love our discipline, we love whatever we love. That's where we put our time. If it's law, sister, if it's medicine, whatever it is that you love, that's where you put your time, because that's what makes you somebody, regardless to your being married to a man or his being married to you. And that's why we got all this imbalance, because there's too much selfishness. I'm concluding. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when I met him, he told me, not the first time I met him, but as he became acquainted with me and a gift that I had, the gift of speech, which I didn't know I had. He saw in that gift of speech a value to reach his people. But I also needed balance. I have children, 9 of them, that didn't have a father. Why didn't my children have a father? They didn't have a father. What is this, True Confessions, Farrakhan? No. It's a struggle for balance. And I don't care how good I look in your eyes. See, truth humbles us all and makes us see ourselves as we really are. And I'm using myself as an example to give you courage to face the imbalance of yourself, so that you can leave here and struggle for balance so you can have a better life. And all your surroundings will be better when you and I are much more balanced. Do you follow what I'm saying? Now my children, they had food. I mean, we ate beans for about 9 years. This is true. This is true. Never had hardly any money. I was a hard-working minister for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but I was poor as a bowl of Yakima, whatever that is. I was so poor that Sister Clara Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's wife, came to Boston and saw my wife and my condition, and she broke down and cried, but I didn't even know I was poor. She was crying over our poverty, but I was in such good spirit that I didn't know I was poor. I gave up a career at that time that would have netted me at that time $500 a week 32 years ago. And going toward the $1,000 and $1,500 a week mark. I gave that up to work for $40 a week for my faith. People thought I was a fool, but I didn't know where my faith was going to take me. I'm talking about faith in God. I was imbalanced. Yes, it's true. My wife and I suffered. True. The children suffered. It's true. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told me that Master Farad Muhammad, his teacher, told him, don't worry about your children. Allah will take care of them. He told me Don't worry about your family, brother. Go after our poor people, because the judgment of this world is coming down fast, and if somebody don't go after them, they will be killed and won't even know why they're dying. You're dying right now and don't know why you're dying. But America is falling, and she's not going to tell you the truth. She's intend to carry us with her. So I made a conscious sacrifice. And I hope that one day my children will understand. My mother made a sacrifice. She sacrificed no good men in her life that she could give my brother and I a life. We ain't never seen no man in our house sleeping in our mother's bed. And she's a natural woman like any other woman, but I ain't never seen it in my house. She sacrificed all of that for me and my brother. So I see that I was born into the world from a sacrificing mother to give my life for the black man's rise. And I make no apologies for that. I'm born to die for you. That's what makes Jesus real to me. Because I don't talk this. I live it every day of my life. You ain't on Front Street. The white man ain't after you. The government ain't after you. They after me, because what I got in my mouth from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad will wake you up overnight. My wife may never be happy as a woman should be happy under normal circumstances. A man should be able to go home, sit with his family, and talk about problems. Under normal circumstances, a man should be able to do that. But as a young boy, I took the mission of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad serious. And I had no qualifications. All I had was love in my heart for black people, man. And people try to burn my house down, kill my wife and my family. I didn't know what I was getting into, but I'm in it now. And there ain't no turning back. That's right. And if I lost all my family, I would keep on going. Even though it would grieve me. I can't bow down to them and their need. When I see a whole people going to hell, I got to get after you. You the one that have to be raised. And if they will understand that tomorrow may be brighter because somebody was willing to die today, then my living and my death will not be in vain. But what the hell good is it if I come home every night and see our people go to hell living in this wicked and rotten condition? How will that benefit my children and my grandchildren when they got to grow up and play with dope addicts and become one themselves? So if we don't work to reform the world's wickedness will destroy all the good that we try to do. You agree with me? All right. So when I was in physics, I learned about a lever. And if you put a weight on this lever, and that's 150 pounds, and you put a weight on this side, and it's 50 pounds, you can't put the center of gravity there, because if you do, this will go this way. Is that right? Yes, right. Because this outweighs this. That's right. You got the picture?
Yes, sir.
So the fulcrum, which this is called, if you want to balance the lever, you got to move it more towards here. And if you take a ratio, this is to this, as this is to this, you find out exactly where the fulcrum should be put so that there's perfect balance. Well, I didn't have no mathematics. I just went to work. And I found that in giving life to our people, it compensated. My soul was satisfied because I was doing what I was born to do. I'm inclined 23 degrees, 30 minutes to the plane of the orbit of sacrifice of my life. So just like it pleases some of you to fight, it pleases me to live and die for black people. That's my thing. I don't deserve no credit, just like you don't deserve no credit if you're born to play the piano and you do it well, then go on and do your thing. But my thing is living and dying for black people. That's my thing. That's what I'm born into the world to do, and that's what I shall do. And there is none, nothing, and no one that can take me away from that commitment. That's clear. So God put the fulcrum there. And God supplied the balance because I didn't. And so my family, my wife, and my children are still with me, bruised, bent, but loving that man because they know he was not there drinking and partying. He was not there gambling and throwing away his money. He was dealing for black people. But now that I'm sensitive to balance, I must struggle to put more balance in my life. And you know how you get balance? When you make God first in your life. Not your girlfriend, not your boyfriend, not your husband, not your husband, not your husband, not your wife, but Almighty God Allah. That's my concluding point. If you can call on your girlfriend and feel good about loving her, and call on your boyfriend and feel good about loving him, and call him all times of the day and night because you just want to talk to him and be close to him, and that boyfriend didn't give you the inclination, that boyfriend or girlfriend, that husband, that wife, that mother, that father, that friend, that teacher, they were not with you in the womb when you were being formed. Even though your mother was the vessel through which you were brought, she didn't even know she was pregnant with you until time made her see it. But there was a powerful God in the womb forming you, and it didn't have no help. Look at this now. When you come forth out of your mother's womb, and I came forward, it wasn't my girlfriend there. It wasn't my wife there. My son wasn't there, and you weren't there. But a powerful God, a beneficent God, put milk in my mother's breast for me. And I went to that breast, and I didn't find it empty. And a bond grew between me and my mother through her breast, and my coming there regularly to feed. She was bonded to me and I to her, like your baby is bonded to you and you to your baby through the act of breastfeeding. You all ought to do that. And take your baby off this damn formula, this white man, and put him on the formula that God gives you. Yeah, stop making excuses. Well, I work. Squeeze it in a bottle till you get home. Oh, nigga, stay off of me. Leave me alone. I'm doing what I want to do. One of these days, I want to teach you, if you allow me to, why there's more value in your breast than in all the cows that God made. And all the chemical formulas. Even if you're a sick mother, your milk is better for your baby than the most sanitary cow's milk that they can find. You kicking the calves away from the cow so you can put your baby that ain't no animal on a damn animal so you think you can have a pretty form? Woman, you a crazy woman.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. I greet you, my beloved brothers and sisters and regular viewers of the Imagination Show. I greet you in the greeting words of peace. You know, we say it in the ancient tongue of Arabic. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, 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 dear beloved family and friends, and all of you who have been blessed to enter into this brand new year of 2025. Welcome to another episode of the Imagination Show. My name is Brother Leo Muhammad, and sitting alongside me is my beloved friend and wife and partner, Sister Claudia Muhammad.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you all in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, beloved.
Blessed New Year to you all. We are now in 2025, and we thank Allah for all of those of us who managed to get through 2024. A lot of us may have lost a loved one or so during this time, but we must give thanks and praise to Allah that we were blessed to continue the journey of life.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you fixed your tie.
Absolutely. Was it
Yeah.
not straight? It still looks a little bit straight.
Better.
But praise be to Allah. Thank you, Sister Claudia Muhammad, and brothers and sisters. As always, at this point, I really want to encourage you to call a friend, a loved one, somebody that you care about. Let them know that the Imagination Show is live and direct right now on Zoom and also on YouTube. Also, dear family, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Imagination Show, because when you do that, you help the show to grow. You help the show to go to new levels. And this is what we want to do with this show during 2025. We really want to grow it. We want to see it become, something very, very special, because what we share and what we offer on the Imagination Show doesn't belong to me, doesn't belong to Sister Claudia Muhammad. It is a very, very unique and special and powerful word.
That's right.
It is a word from God himself through men that he has raised up and chosen to deliver this message to you and I, to deliver this message that is a transformative message, a message which is designed to really change our condition as a people from whatever this world has imposed on us. Brothers and sisters, we can extricate ourselves. We can be lifted out of this quagmire of madness that this world is today, and we can become a great and a successful people. And so this is what the Imagination Show is all about. And I've got a lot to get through today, and I'm really hoping that you will bear with us as we attempt to deal with what we want to deal with today. It's not easy, because for those of you who can see the title, it's really dealing with myself to some degree, but I really want you to know that at the same time, it's not about myself. As I listened to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan just now, and when I chose the clip that we played, I chose it very randomly. I didn't really know what the minister was going to be saying in that particular clip. But man, as I listened to that, it was just so on point in terms of today's subject matter and the type of relationships that we have in this world with family members and with the world itself, and really, what it is that our life is all about. You know, I just found it very, very informative what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was sharing with us. And like I said, it just fitted in perfectly with what it is that I want to talk to you about today. And so I want to begin by saying welcome to episode 163. And today is Thursday, January the 2nd, 2025. And you are, of course, tuned in to the Image a Nation show. And today's title is Introducing Brother Leo Muhammad. Because you see, family, you may have been watching me for some 60 odd shows or 160 plus shows, or you may have seen me on YouTube, or you may have seen me in Hyde Park, or you may have seen me in different arenas. But what do you really know about me? What is it? What do you really know? What is it that I've told you about myself? Because maybe you've read something, but who wrote it? Did it come from me? Is it a truthful statement? Today I just really wanted to put myself into a kind of context as it relates to what it is that we are attempting to do on the Image a Nation show. And so I would really appeal to you to bear with me, to be patient, because this is not to be some self-centered thing where now we want to try and heap praise on self, or it's really way, way, way above that very limited and very trivial pursuit. Okay, we're not into self-aggrandizement or self-glorification. It's really not about that. But what it is, it's about contextualizing one's life around what one is attempting to do in this life and trying to show really what the motivations are, where this is coming from. And I can tell you from now, I was up I was up into the early hours of this morning trying to put this together. And I tell you now, family, believe me, I haven't scratched the surface in terms of what one could share, yet there's so much. And I almost feel like what we have today is too much, but we'll see where we get to in the next few minutes. Dear family, I pray that you are all well. And as always, we encourage you to put in the chat, let us know, where you are. Let us know where you are on the planet. Let us know where you are blessed to be tuning in from today, because myself and Sister Claudia, we're always, always very interested in knowing where you are looking at us from. Greetings, Image a Nation family. Unfortunately, our last show on Thursday, December the 26th, entitled The Continuing Plot to Kill Jesus Christ, last week, ended abruptly after about 2 hours of the show being aired, and we were not able to wrap everything up in the usual satisfactory way. And so for that and any disappointment caused, we do apologize unreservedly, because we are still not sure what happened and why the show suddenly cut off like it did. Maybe the subject matter as it relates to the modern day Jesus Christ in our midst touched the nerve too close to the enemy's home. But literally, family, we don't know what happened. We tried to get back on, but in the end, it was impossible. But praise be to Allah. The beauty was that we had gotten really the bulk of what it was that we wanted to share. And we had gone over 2 hours. And so we hope that there wasn't too much disappointment last week. We didn't get to share our daily bread last week, and so we wanted to do that right at the top today. So, Sister Claudia, over to you.
Okay, family, as our brother Leo said, we are still doing our daily bread teachings. Would you like to take these two?
Absolutely.
The Teachings 2.0 book challenge. These are 5,000 questions
and answers
put by the public, asked the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan questions, and our beloved minister answered all 5,000 questions with the help of our brother Abdul Qiyam Muhammad, who compiled these fantastic life-saving books. As I said, life-saving. These books here have saved people's lives. The questions, the answers from God himself, these answers. And I can tell you, there's something in here for everybody to go into. So keep reading these books. These books can fit in your pocket when you're on your lunch break. As I said before, when you can't sleep at night, pick up the little book.
That's right.
There's a question for you when you're waiting for your children, wherever you are, just purchase one of these books and take a picture of yourself with the book, or you can do a video recording of yourself reading one of your favorite questions. All you have to do is post a video reading a favorite question and answer, post a photo of yourself with the book, use hashtag #AskFarrakhan and tag/DM at the Teachings Podcast, and you can purchase these books from at store.finalcall.com.
That's right.
And gift them to somebody. You know, you don't need Christmas or a birthday or anything to give somebody a gift. Let's start giving. Purchase one of these books. As I said, they are fantastic. They are life-saving. They are answers from God himself.
Praise be to Allah. Also,
praise be to Allah. And also, if you're in the UK, you can purchase the book from London Study Group 19.org. Come on, let's sell all these books out. Let's get them to be printing millions of these. Get these all over. Got to get these books all over the planet Earth. Come on, family, let's really push. And we need the knowledge and wisdom of God today. There's so much garbage out there. We need to enlighten ourselves.
Absolutely.
So, thank you very much for that.
Praise God. Thank you, Sister Claudia Muhammad. Praise be to Allah. You know, go ahead, sister.
I'm sorry to cut you though. I did want to say congratulations to, to Johnny Mitchell, who is expecting another baby. All praises due to Allah. Brother Johnny, are you on how to give birth to God? Are you watching the lectures from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? Make sure your beloved is watching those brilliant videos on YouTube, how to give birth to a God. Because there's one thing having a baby when you're in the world, but when you've got the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, totally different story. You're actually being taught how to give birth to a God. So congratulations on that. Keep us updated with the progress of your wife and her pregnancy. And we pray that Allah will continue to guide and protect you on your journey. And for anyone else who is expecting new life, all praises due to Allah. Congratulations to you.
Yes, praise be to Allah. And as Sister Claudia said, you know, if you can access the lectures, how to give birth to a God, please, family, watch those lectures, because those lectures are very powerful when it comes to the whole process of giving birth and what you can actually do through the womb of the female while she's actually pregnant. You can begin to actually teach and coach and guide and stimulate your child right from the very womb.
Absolutely.
Dear family, so to deal with this subject of introducing Brother Leo Muhammad, it's important to point out that I have no baby pictures or pictures of myself as a child.
Somebody has.
Well, somebody must have, yeah, somewhere. But only pictures going back to the late 1970s and 1980s, when I was in my mid to late 20s. And by 1988, I was already 30 years old. Those of you trying to work out my age. In terms of my life synopsis, I will be reading from a blog post that I wrote and posted back in April of 2013. Admittedly, a lot has happened and a lot has changed since then, but I think it's still relevant to this reintroduction of myself at the start of the year 2025. And so I posted this on a blog back in April 2013. And this is what I wrote at that time, dear family. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Leo Muhammad. Many people know me as many things, but from my unique perspective, let me tell you who I am. I am a modern day disciple. A disciple is someone who believes in and helps to spread the doctrine of another. If you're wondering who that other is, his name is Farrakhan. His name is Elijah Muhammad. I am Jamaican by birth. I have lived in the UK for over 40 years. Now, you know, to this point, it's well over 50 years that I've lived in the United Kingdom. I'm a believer in and follower of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I am a registered member of the Nation of Islam. I am very happily married with beautiful children and a beautiful wife, as I'm sure, dear family, you can see. I am an unapologetic utopian. For those of you who don't know what the word utopia means, you should look it up. And by the way, in the English language, you know that for them, utopia actually means no such place. Because what utopia represents, it's a place of perfection. It's a place of beauty. It's a place of natural expression. It's a place where freedom, justice, and equality reigns. And in English, it's no such place. But I am an unapologetic utopian, dear family, who believes that human beings and the world in which we live could be a much better place if genuine freedom, justice, and equality were established and practiced by the members of the human family. I started to learn and develop this philosophy for life about 20 years ago when I was blessed to be exposed to some study materials and teaching tools entitled Self-Improvement, the Basis for Community Development, produced by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. However, before these events and the transformation of my life, I was in very deep trouble. Arriving in the UK, age 9 in 1967, was the culture shock of all shocks. Within 2 years, I was in a children's home. And I just want you to appreciate, family, I can't really even stop and break down too much because, like I said, there's so much. But I just wanted to say, I want you to imagine a little Jamaican child, you know, coming from really almost a solid black country. And then within 2 years of being in this country, I'm in a solid white children's home with just a couple of smatterings of other black children. But really, it was really, really something very shocking. Within 2 years, I was in this children's home. Within 4 years, I was in approved school, AKA a school for bad boys. I can't go into all of the details now, but I'm giving you a synopsis of my life. Within 6 years, I was in a detention center. I had already passed through one on my way to the approved school, but this time I was remanded in custody. Within 8 years, I was in Borstal prison, which is a prison really for young men. Okay, this is what Borstal is. I was 17, lonely, angry, ignorant, and confused. At the same time, my mind and heart were full of burning, unanswered questions like literally, who am I? That's how devoid of knowledge that I was, having come here at 9 and then found myself in this tunnel of despair. I'm asking, who am I? How did I get here? Where are my parents? Why do I feel so despised and rejected? I mean, the racism in those days was palpable, man. It was manifest. It was in your face as a young person of color growing up in this country. Why am I surrounded by hostile strangers? Is there a future outside of these bars? Because I'm now looking through prison bars. The answers to those questions never came, family. The next 8 years, from 1975 to 1983, was a living nightmare of crime and punishment. It was a long, dark tunnel with no light that I could see. Reading the life stories of George Jackson, I started to read. I picked up some books in the prison. Reading the life stories of George Jackson, Malcolm X, and Scotland's Jimmy Boyle has always brought a wry smile to my face, because much of the narrative could have been written about me and some of my experiences on the streets and within the criminal justice system. Finally, in 1986, I heard the name and the voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for the first time, and the seed of change was planted in my brain. In 1988, I decided to relocate from the mean streets of South London, away from certain old friends and familiar situations, to the new and relatively unknown climate of West London. By the way, just as mentioning South London, just a big shout out to our brother Simon, who I can see is on board right now. I searched within and outside of myself for what I could do with my life with no qualifications. Again, just listening to the minister talking about him having no qualifications, with no qualifications and little prospects for the future, resulting from a lack of schooling since Jamaica. So you understand, I only went to school up to about 7 years old, because even before we came to the UK, they took us out of school. We was out of school for 2 years waiting to come to England. Something happened and they made a mistake, and we were literally out of school for that period of time, just waiting. They kept on saying, you're going to England, then it was cancelled, then you're going, then it was cancelled, and that went on for some 2 years. And so, dear family, that was really the bulk of my schooling in my life. I decided to become an actor, because being an actor might allow me self-expression. I didn't know what I wanted to say, but I knew I wanted to say something. Becoming an actor would afford me the opportunity to express some of the pent-up feelings I had inside me. I found a 1-year college drama course and I enrolled. Having completed the course successfully, I needed an equity card. In those days, you needed an equity card to be able to get acting jobs, to get work as an actor. And the route to the equity card was contracts to prove that I was doing paid work on the stage. I set out on the road of stand-up comedy, and the rest is history. From the very earliest point, I wanted to find a way to introduce some real social commentary into my comedy and to distinguish myself in some way. I tried a little of the Eddie Murphy style, cussing, some 4-letter words, but quickly dropped it because it didn't sit comfortably with me, especially after my father showed up at one of my shows, heard me swear, and promptly walked out. I felt sick to my stomach. My father may not have always been there for me in the past, but I still had respect. I started my own comedy club called the LAD, L-A-D Club, the Live and Direct Connection. Then not long after that, I became a regular feature on the Black Comedy Club circuit, which put on shows up and down the country. 1989 to 1990, I met up with some brothers and sisters who were believers in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I became a member of the study group without any hesitation. I had found what I was looking for. Within a few weeks of being exposed to the teachings, so many perplexing questions about God, good and evil, my nature, identity, history, the devil were all being answered. A real peace and tranquility came into my life. I got a few very small TV roles and became the warm-up man for the Red Dwarf, which was a show on the television, the Fry and Laurie show, which was another show on TV, and the London Underground show, filmed in Paramount City nightclub in the West End, hosted by Curtis Walker, and Ishmael Thomas. Then the TV exposure moved to another level with the advent of Channel 4's hit late night comedy show, The 291 Club, where I became a regular guest performer. Black British comedy was all the flavor, and so in 1991, the BBC finally got in on the act and took it to yet another level with what was then and remains to this day the best black comedy sketch show in the history of the UK, The Real McCoy. 5 or 6 series later in 1995, it was finally yanked unceremoniously off the screens with no explanation from the higher-ups at the BBC. It was too late, however. The job was done. I was already well known for The Real McCoy and becoming even better known for my highly visible NOI activism and uncompromising vocal advocacy for and on behalf of Black, poor, and oppressed people in the UK and around the world. So what's my purpose in laying out my life like this, dear family? It's very simple. I want to share with you how I came from where I was to where I am today. Why? Because I have had a whole lifetime of great and dreadful experiences, which have taught me a fantastic amount about success and failure and how to cope with both. Even more important is the fact that I've learned how to avoid many of the pitfalls and dead ends in life and how to plan and execute strategies for winning and reaching your goals. But why should any of this be important to you? Because today you might be in a similar place to where I used to be, and I wouldn't be true to myself if I did not want for you what I want for myself. So family, that's what I wrote in 2013, and I thought that would be a good foundation for us to go forward. I don't know, did you see the picture of me?
I wanted you to go back because I was saying you actually look younger now.
I can't go back.
Yes.
I can't go back. But there'd be other pictures. You know, it's amazing what these teachings do for us if we carry them into practice. One of the reasons that I don't have too much to say to my children about the choices they make when it comes to their hair and what they do with it is because I can remember the many and varied incarnations of hairstyles that I went through as a young person, because growing up on the streets without a real knowledge of self and constantly searching for my true identity resulted in a great deal of hair experimentation. See, that's what we do as young people. And, you know, we've got to be careful because sometimes we can be too critical of the youth. You know, they're trying to find themselves. Right. I mean, I didn't have any parental guidance whatsoever. I mean, I literally came up on the streets. And as a result of that, I was always trying to find, you know, who I was and my own unique way of expressing myself or how I should look, etc. This necklace thing that I'm wearing here, there were 3 pieces of coral and they were red, yellow, and green because I was really, you know, very much kind of like leaning towards Rastafarianism in those days. That was these were the most conscious people that I knew, because a part of me was always leaning towards that direction, the consciousness. And it was the Rasta people was the first people I ever heard say, God is man and man is God. Man is God and God is man. So, you know, that stuck with me. And I had a beautiful friend, much older than me, and he was a dreadlocks brother, and he was always a voice of reason and trying to give me some type of guidance and direction whenever I was in his vicinity. And so, family, I hope you're all good, family. Let me know in the chat if it makes sense. And, you know, if this is something that you think is necessary in order that the people may know where we are coming from. I have no idea what Almighty God Allah has in store for me going forward, family, into the future. But I honestly and sincerely believe that my life so far was designed by the Creator to serve as some kind of lesson to whoever cares to study it and learn about it, young or old, male or female, black or white, because even as I put this presentation together, I find myself fascinated by my own history based on what I've seen and experienced over the years. And I'm even more excited and intrigued by the potential for what is to come tomorrow. This is how I looked as a teenager, coming into my 20s. What do you think?
No, I'm reading the comments. Lion of Jar at this time.
Yeah.
Leo's a panther.
Yes. That's how your brother looked back in the day. Now, family, we're going to go through this because you may have been introduced to me already, but yeah, I could have said a reintroduction, but I just want people to understand how we come to be here today, doing what we're doing. In this picture that's coming up, my beloved mother is the lady standing at the end next to the small girl while attending the wedding of a friend. Now, family, I feel extremely blessed.
Could you not do the pointer?
Yes, I'll just indicate. This is my beautiful mother here. This is my mum. And she was attending the wedding of a friend. And I feel extremely blessed to be her son for a multitude of reasons, not least because of her physical beauty. She's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful Black woman. And the difficulties and hardships she has had to endure and overcome in her life. My birth, for instance, was one of those difficulties and hardships, being one of those hard trials, because after her waters broke, I want you to think about this. After her waters broke, I stayed in her womb for another 3 days. Yeah, so essentially, when she gave birth to me, it was what they call a dry birth. And she was in absolute agony, but I can assure you, I went to hell myself and back during that, coming into this life, coming into this world. Family, I hope you are all good. Somebody says it makes perfect sense, brother. Move through life's journey. Praise be to Allah. I used to tell a story about when I was born and how my head, because of the pressure of coming through the womb dry, my head was somewhat elongated, but my mother was very, very wise, and she, because the bones are still soft, and she literally tapped it and molded it and rounded it, so again, I thank my mother for getting rid of that odd shaped head. And I know some of you are saying, well, it doesn't look like she fixed it that well, but that's what happened. That's what happened to me during birth. Now, family, I feel very proud of my mother, because now she's in her mid-80s. She has demonstrated that she is a real survivor. I mean, man, like I said, these things I could stop and go into so much, but that's not the purpose of this tonight. She has proved that she's a real survivor who has carried herself with grace and dignity in the various circles and countries in which she has moved and lived, including Spain, Germany, and Egypt. I have tremendous sympathy for everyone who have lost their mother, because the thought of losing mine induces a pain in my heart and in my mind that's difficult to properly process. And I've got to say, family, love your mum. Take care of your mum.
That's right.
We only ever have one mother.
That's right.
Go ahead, sister.
And just to say, My mother-in-law, oh my God. Uh, wherever she walks, people have to stop and question her because she is so elegant. She's so stunning. People are just in awe when they meet her. Just I don't know. There's just something about her. She's just so classy, even at her age. You know, I don't know if you're going to mention about her modeling.
Yeah, well,
But she does modeling. You know, in her 80s, she's just so people just stop. But absolute
I think it's
strangers.
about 3 years now since she's
Yeah,
been
she's
on the catwalk.
yeah. But people, strangers, just come up to her and they just where are you from? She is just so classy. I really love her. You know, there's a joke people always say, oh, the
The
mother-in-law.
mother-in-law.
Oh no, I love her so much. We get on so well. She's such a beautiful woman. It'll be good one day to get her on the show.
Yes, yes. Well,
Inshallah.
because I say I've told her I want to interview her
Yes,
because her life is just
Oh.
so interesting.
definitely.
Dear beloved family. You know, all of us have got that appointment.
Hmm.
All of us. And so I'm on the no illusions, you see. But what I'm saying is that while our mother is here,
That's right.
man, you know,
Call her every day.
make the most of it, family.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not as good as my wife when it comes to keeping in touch with family, but I'm really encouraging all of us to be much more diligent when it comes to the mother,
That's right.
you know.
And no, she hasn't been back to Jamaica.
No. Did somebody ask that
Yes.
question? No. The spirit of my father has returned to its source, which is Almighty God Allah. And he now resides in the realm of the ancestors. Despite not really being there for me as a doting father, I'm in no doubt that through his DNA, he passed on to me his great gift of being able to take to a stage and perform. And although I am not a player of musical instruments or a singer of songs or a dancer like he was, nevertheless, through my acting and the gifted ability to stand up and speak, I have indeed followed in his footsteps. This is the picture of my dad on stage performing. I mean, he was crazy on the stage. I'll tell you a very quick story. My father was once a part of the pop group Hot Chocolate. And it was literally within weeks of him leaving Hot Chocolate, Errol Brown and those brothers, they were all together, that they got the massive hit, I Believe in Miracles. Where are you from? You sexy thing. That was
Oh yes.
yeah, my dad used to be a part of that band, part of that group. But this was an article that was written about a band that he had formed with some other people while they were living in Derby. But again, I'm trying to show that, you know, they say the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. And you see, we've just got to appreciate, family, these connections. Absolutely. You know, because we are nothing. None of us is anything without our connections. And, you know, we must appreciate where we're coming from. Yeah, and I was blessed to see my father perform on a few occasions on stage, and I heard the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan talking about when he was a performer and how he would sing, he would dance, and he would even tell jokes. My dad was like that. He was that kind of. He had a way with the crowd. He was, you know, really a fantastic performer. It is such a shame that so many young people become resentful and disrespectful of our parents and their perceived shortcomings, lack of love and care for us, or because they didn't live up to our fairy tale or fake Hollywood expectations of what a parent should be. The fact is, they are our parents. And the scripture says, honor your mother and father that your days may be long in the land. See, family, just think about it. Without them, we would not even be here. Right. You know, it really hurts me when I see children being disrespectful to their parents. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your father's seed and your mother's womb. Stop it. You know, lower your wing. Just humble yourself. You know, like we some of us, I think they want to argue. Look, let me explain. I'm a grown man with my wife here. We got children. But if my mother came into the room now and decided to cuss me off, I am not retaliating. I'm not shouting back. I'm not going to argue. I'm going to say, yes, mom. And I'm going to humble myself. Why? Because that's the vessel through which I got this life. See? That's how humble we've got to learn to be when it comes to our parents. This is me and my father and daughter in 1994 in Jamaica. I went to visit him in 94. The last time I saw him before he passed away was in 2015. But this was my father. Dear family, when speaking to some of my friends and family who have known me for over 40 years, some of them say that I have not really changed much in terms of attitude, because they say I was always a deep thinker with a serious outlook. Even back then, they say I was always going to be the person I've become. And so, you know, my prayer, sacrifice, life and death right now is the desire to be and to become the man Almighty God Allah created me to be. Nothing more, nothing less. Just to be pleasing to Him. See, that's what I've dedicated my life to. That's why I loved listening to the minister just now, because man, he was really laying it out. See, for me, this is not an optional thing. It's not a choice thing. I know who it is that I want to judge me. I know who it is that I'm desirous of pleasing. And I know that I was born to do what I'm doing, dear family. And, you know, listening to my friends say, well, you were always going in a particular direction, even though I know I was very wayward at times. I take it from them because they could see maybe something in me that I didn't necessarily see at the time in myself. Dear family, I hope you are all good. All praises are due to Allah. Now, one of the few regrets that I have is that I did not pursue a career in boxing. My wife should know this because I'm always watching boxing, or at least in some type of martial art. Because as a teenager, I loved the art of combat in all its forms, and nothing apart from my age has changed, right to this very day. However, in all honesty, it is not a big regret, because I have reasoned to myself and concluded that Almighty God Allah desired for me to pursue a different kind of fighting, which is not against flesh and blood in the boxing ring, but it's the war against the darkness of this world and against spiritual wickedness in high places. You see the way God works and moves? See, I thought I was going to be that kind of fighter. And believe me, family, when I was a young man, I lived to fight. That's all I was interested in. You know, training and boxing, and man, I loved that as I grew up, you see. But evidently, Almighty God Allah had something else in store for me. Dear family, I was born to fight. At first, I thought it was through the martial arts, to the point where I wore the yellow and black tracksuit that Bruce Lee wore in his last movie, The Game of Death. And me and my Turkish Cypriot friend would spend almost every waking hour of each and every day practicing and perfecting our kicking and punching to the point of accuracy and control, speed and power, where we could kick toothpicks and matchsticks out of each other's mouths, sustaining plenty of accidental injuries along the way. But we were serious. We literally took this thing serious. Me and this brother, we would go in a phone box back in the day when there was just phone boxes.
Yeah.
We didn't have mobile phones in those days, but we would go in a phone box and we would fight in the phone box for half an hour to 45 minutes, just for close quarter combat, whereby putting yourself in a position where you wouldn't be able to move, you wouldn't be able to run, there would be nowhere to go, so you have to fight close up. These are the types of things that we would practice and the things that we would do. This is how your brother was growing up, dear family. Yeah, hot chocolate. So hot chocolate is cool band name for dark skinned ones. Yeah, that's right. That was my dad used to be affiliated with hot chocolate. When I began making a name for myself in the world of entertainment, I would do a regular charity boxing event to raise money for children with Down syndrome, and where myself and other boxers or celebrities would get in the ring with the Down syndrome young person and move them around for a few rounds, allowing them to punch and experience the thrill of being in the boxing ring. This is what I was doing, helping out these young Down syndrome. There was one in particular, I remember, he used to really, he would be trying to knock your head clean off. And, you know, you would just block and everything. You wouldn't hit them back or nothing like that. But it was some ex-fighters who were doing this, and they would raise quite a lot of money every year for the Down syndrome children. And they asked me if I would take part. I think I did it for about 3 or 4 years. Yeah. Dear family, I hope you are good. Are you learning anything about your husband?
Most of it I know.
I know you know, but you know, maybe there's something will pop out and you say, you never told me that.
No.
Dear family, when I became a stand-up comedian, performing what became known as edutainment, which is a phrase coined by KRS-One, you know, our great conscious rapper, meaning educating and entertaining at the same time. That's edutainment. One of my signature moves on the stage would be to execute a perfect sidekick and hold it perfectly steady for several seconds while continuing to speak to the audience, repeating the famous Bruce Lee line from the movie Enter the Dragon, where he points his foot at his adversary and tells him outside, because the man had walked into his room and he was telling the man to leave. But yeah, this is what we would do on the stage, and people really,
which you still can do.
Yeah, I can still do it. I still keep, you know, as flexible and try and keep training and keep the kicks and things going, not to the degree that I used to, but yeah, in fact, you know, 2025, we want to get to a level of fitness. My wife is laughing.
No, because you think you're Eddie Murphy.
my other passion was motorcycles. And at the start of my writing and acting career, when my name was still Leo Chester, this was how one of my publicity cards looked, with me sitting on my then 750 Kawasaki and feeling very much like a road warrior. This was how I was publicizing myself at the start of this acting career, dear family. Okay. Somebody's asking, HKA is asking, what did you think of the Du Bois Joshua fight? You know, myself and Sister Claudia, we're convinced that Anthony Joshua, from the time he got beaten that first time, he was never the same. He's never been the same. And Du Bois, you know, he's got the bit between his teeth right now, and he's going for it, man. And he to use a white man's lingo phrase in this country, he mullered him. He absolutely destroyed Joshua. You know, and in fact, I also believe that Du Bois beat Usyk, and that wasn't a low punch at all, but they robbed Dubois, and Dubois not having the real killer instinct, instead of allowing the referee to prevent him from going to U6 midsection, he should have kept on going there, even though he was getting warned for it. He should have kept on going, but he didn't, and he ended up getting knocked out by Usyk. But you know, I think Dubois, you know, he's got a big punch, and so he could do things. He could do things in the heavyweight division. We'll have to wait and see. While on a break in Barbados in 2008, I just couldn't help myself. I just couldn't help myself, dear family. Steve Brown said, you would have loved my GPZ 1100. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love those bikes. Now, family, in those days, while studying drama and before joining the Nation of Islam, my dress code was different, to say the least. My wife, she thinks I was a bit strange. Dress code was different, to say the least, and as well as the motorbike, this little Spitfire car, which was my then girlfriend's car, was a lot of fun to drive around, especially with the top down. But this is the way I would dress in those days.
Very strange.
My wife says it's strange, but yeah, we were me and my friends, we were, you know, pretty crazy. We would just do whatever we wanted to do. These were actually American football trousers that I was wearing there, and sometimes we would literally wear the pads, the American football pads, and the whole 9 yards, going on the street or going to clubs. It was a very, very interesting life, very interesting times. Let me see what this says. I had a Babetta 49 CM3, demolished it at 40 kilometers per hour. Oh, okay. So I have horses now. Okay, that's good. I used to go horse riding myself. I literally had my own horse, and not that I owned a horse, but every time I would go to that particular stables in at that particular place where we would hire the horses, I would get the same white stallion. I used to really enjoy that. Okay. These were the days of nightclubbing, fast cars, and girls, while studying drama, and before I heard the voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And at this stage, I decided that an acting career would be my chosen path, because it would give me an opportunity to express myself about what I didn't quite know, but I knew I had a lot inside that needed to come out, family. That's something, you know, and my mother told me, she said that when I was a child and they would be about to discipline me, I would hold both hands up in the air and say, like, to stop them from the beating, and say, let me explain. So what that tells me is that I must have always had some lyrics. You know, I always had something to say. So here I am among some of my fellow drama students rehearsing a scene from a play. And all of these students are all teenagers. And there's a few of them in their 20s, while there I am, a 30-year-old, trying to put my life on track. Because remember, I had no qualifications. I had really nothing much going for me. I had a background of being incarcerated, and, you know, and I was really trying to now make a change. They were, you know, some of these students, they were often quite puzzled by me, because I wasn't wide-eyed and bushy-tailed about acting for fame and fortune. That just wasn't my motivation. I literally wanted to say something in life. I wanted to express myself. I wasn't going there thinking I'm going to be this big star, I'm going to be famous. It just wasn't that. And I remember how we would get into some of these discussions were questions. They would raise questions like, for instance, you know, Leo, would you play an homosexual? And I said, categorically, no, I wouldn't do it. I just would not play that role. And there were other things, you know, would you eat certain things on camera or whatever? Would you put certain things in your mouth? But I was always a person who was very clear about things that I would do and things that I wouldn't do. And so when I would stand my ground on these things to these students, they would be really shocked, because from their perspective, as an actor, you do whatever the role demands. But I just wasn't motivated like that. I wasn't going into it to lose myself. I was going into it to reinforce in fact, I feel like I was always acting when I was on those streets. And now all I wanted was a piece of paper that would allow me to be able to earn money and then be able to go to somewhere else in life. And so they were often quite puzzled by me, because I wasn't wide-eyed and bushy-tailed about acting for fame and fortune, but I had a different agenda, a means to an end, meaning I would not sell myself, and nor could I be bought. Tragically, the young Asian student in the foreground, this little one that you can see here, was suffering from a blood disease called thalassemia. And he sadly passed away during that 1-year course. You know, 1 minute he was there, next minute we were told that he had passed away over a weekend when we came back in on the Monday. But he was always sick. He was always short of breath. He was always struggling as a young person, but he had this dreaded blood disease called thalassemia. Dear family, I have never seen any of the other students from that college drama course featured in anything outside of the things we did on the course, apart from Danny Sapani. I don't know how many of you have seen this brother, but he's in loads of different films, and I mean big things. Okay. Danny is well known. I can't name you. Put his, Google him, and then maybe you can tell our brothers and sisters some of the things that he's been in. But he's a massive star in the world of acting now. But this was the only other person that was on that course with me that I've then seen gone on to do big things. He was at the college at the same time. And when we did the play Romeo and Juliet, he played Lord Montague and I played Lord Capulet. And so we were rivals in that play, and it was fantastic. And he has since gone on to become a big star on both film and television. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he's Hollywood. You know, he's doing so much. Maybe if you can, you might find some movies that you can say. Dear family, I hope everybody is good. I saw Sister Marva is with us. Johnny Mitchell says that's a yellow Bruce Lee suit you were wearing. That's right. Johnny Mitchell says, I could tell when I first saw you that you can fight. I knew it. You know what? Fighters, they tend to know each other. They can recognize stance or gait, the way people move. This is me out nightclubbing with my friend and fellow biker, Jeff. Jeff is wearing the yellow top, but by the look on my face, it looks like I'm being his bodyguard, which is a job I did on and off for 3 years, taking care of a Saudi Arabian prince when he visited London for a couple of months each summer. The prince was 6'2" tall, while I'm only 5'8", but he trusted me to take care of business because he knew I was a fighter. And even looking after that prince, there was a couple of incidents that occurred where I think he set it up to test me, to see whether or not I was for real. And I can assure you, we came through those tests. We passed those tests with flying colors without going into the details. But yeah, a very, very interesting time. And by the way, I would be in these clubs, but as God is my witness, family, I'll be smoking, drinking. I was never a big time drinker, okay? And I was never a big time cigarette smoker, but I would smoke weed. And sometimes, but I would often be questioning,
Wow.
why am I doing this? Because I was never comfortable doing it. It just wasn't really it. Again, when you're searching for your purpose in life, when you're searching for who you are, you might find yourself doing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has done a fantastic lecture, the lecture entitled The Man and the Mission.
Yeah.
And he explains in that lecture how, people are born with a particular purpose, but they can live 20, 30 years and not know what they're here for. And they'll go through all kinds of stuff until eventually they will learn their purpose. And I think I'm one of those kind of people, I think, who went through a lot of trial and error. Khalid Hassan says everybody had that Bruce Lee suit. Yeah, there's a lot of us walking down the road all dressed the same. Some of us lost our mind when Bruce Lee showed up. I was one of those. I can't tell you how many times I watched those movies.
Hold on, there was a bit. Ronald Thompson saying from Birmingham, Brother Leo, do you remember coming on radio PCRL?
Yes,
Birmingham
absolutely.
On every Sunday. Me and Mum used to listen to you telling us what was going on in the country and around the world.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, brother, I remember that very well. And in fact, myself and another brother, he was Miles X at that time. He is now Brother Abdul Rahman, given that name by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But me and him used to ride up. I was riding a R1 motorcycle, and he was riding a 900. It was a the name of the bike has gone out of my head, but he was riding a Honda 900, and we used to go from London to Birmingham to do the show and then ride back down again. And we did that week in and week out. Dear family, not long out of the college, I was soon doing my own one-man edutainment stand-up shows. And at the same time, the influence of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, was also kicking in at the same time. Because even in this very first edutainment event entitled, Will the Real Black Man Please Stand Up? You see how I began? Is how I intended to go along. Will the real black man please stand up? You can see I'm starting in the tradition of prayer. Okay, and the brother behind me, he was just adjusting the microphone lead. But yeah, this was the very first edutainment show that we were doing. And as you can see, the influence of the nation was already all over me. I'm wearing a fez, mimicking the fez that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad wore. And I've got my shiny suit, but I was determined, dear family, to go down that road. And the edutainment really caught on. People loved it, and we would sell out venues. People really, really enjoyed getting that word couched in humor sometimes, and at the same time very serious. It really took off in a big way. The edutainment shows became a huge success, selling out venues up and down the country. We sold out the Hackney Empire, I think, on 3 occasions in those early days, selling out venues up and down the country while spreading the teachings and recruiting large numbers of believers to Islam. What was taking place in the early 90s was a cultural revolution. And the enemy went into overdrive to try and put a stop to it, because after banning the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from entry into the UK in 1986, they did not expect his influence to have any impact or traction on the UK black population. But despite the ban, it did, because we were here and we got busy. I think they were really shocked because, when they banned the minister, the whole idea was to stop Islam from
right.
taking off here, but it didn't work. You know, his word came in audio and videotapes, and
Cassette.
came through came through immigration control, dear family, and we took the teachings and we ran with it, man. And you know, we just saw the whole country,
Yeah, people loved it.
the whole country was being transformed.
And those shows, you can bring anyone, your children.
You could bring your children, you could bring your grandmother,
That's right.
because there was no swearing, there was no, you know, obscenity. There was just it was just on another level.
That's right.
It was just on another level, based on the fact that we had the moral guidance. And you see, for me, family, you know, remember, I'd only been in the teachings now like a few years, a couple of years, but I embraced it so wholeheartedly that for me there was no, you know, I remember somebody was asking me one time, how did you marry the two things, you know, like comedy and the teachings? But for me, it wasn't difficult. It was like the griots, you know. It was like how we were as a people when we would sit on the veranda in Africa or in the Caribbean, and we would tell those stories and we would relate to our people about realities, but couch it in humor, you know what I mean? And it was just beautiful, man. That's how we did it. And you know, we made a lot of progress. Not only were we putting on edutainment shows, but we were also having weekly Nation of Islam meetings, radio shows. That's our brother talking about PCRL in Birmingham. We had another show down in Harlesden called the Cultural Revolution Show, and making regular appearances in Hyde Park, Speaker's Corner. This is where this picture comes from. Organizing large events such as Proud to be Black, Black Family Days, and so much more. In those days, hardly a week could go by without some mention of us in some part of the enemy's media, because we were prolific in raising the consciousness of our people, and we could not be ignored. I'm laying this out for you, family, because, you know, believe it or not, there are people around who would want you to think that, you know, Brother Leo Muhammad hasn't played a pivotal role in the rise of the Nation of Islam in the UK. There are people like that. You got people who have got this really wicked, evil mentality where their desire is to try to pretend that none of this happened. You see? And the history, you know, one of the things that we've got to understand, family, is this thing of history. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that history is best qualified to reward all of our research. You see? And the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey said that a people without knowledge of their history is like a tree without roots. And when you see a tree without roots, you're looking at a dead tree. And so don't ever allow anybody to dispose of your history and pretend that and insert themselves into the history as if they were the author. No, it don't mean that there's anything special about me. I'm not saying that. But if I played a role, I've got to tell the truth, because the history is important, you see? And this was an important part of our history. Go ahead.
Was that not the picture that was?
Oh, man. It's a white man that did this picture. And he put it in an art gallery. Not only did he put it in an art gallery and was making big money from it, but this picture, they put it in a magazine that the airlines had in there, on the people who were flying into the country when they were looking at London and the sights to be seen. Hyde Park, that was the picture that they showed, that the tourists could come, and this is the kind of scene that you could get in Hyde Park. That's how famous this particular picture is of what we did those years in Hyde Park. I have a copy of the picture here on the wall in our apartment where we live, in the hallway. Dear family, you know, we really made an impact. And this is why we're here today doing what we're doing. Then the next thing you know, here comes the Real McCoy with a suit and bow tie wearing brother Leo X Chester now, right at the center, not only acting, but being one of the principal writers on a mainstream black comedy sketch show. This is going into millions of living rooms now. Introducing edutainment using the stealth of real laughter coupled with the unspoken truth that the masses were desperate to hear but were always denied. Man, I put some stuff on that television screen. I wrote some things. And I tell you, family, I would have to write maybe 30 sketches to maybe get 5 in. And these people, they would film, I mean, expensive sketches that they would film the whole thing, you know, with beautiful scenery and sets that had to be designed and everything. And then I remember I would be so excited when I would go home and I'm waiting for that new series to come on that we've just put in the can, and waiting for that particular sketch in particular, because I'm putting stuff in there that's designed to make us laugh and nod and say at the same time, wow, that's true. And it would never appear. And then when we would go back for another series, I would ask the editors and the not the director, but the producers, what happened to that sketch? Oh, yeah, sorry, Leo, but it never made it in because, you know, it basically we had to cut it because we had too much material. And I was saying to myself, wow, these people, and so many good sketches never saw the light of day. Some of them filmed, some never got filmed, but some got through. We did the beginning of slavery. We did the Rodney King beating. We did Carnival, where it was just 2 black people dancing surrounded by police, because the Notting Hill Carnival is now the annual police convention. Got nothing to do with black people anymore. Corporate Britain's taken that over. But we were doing those things way in advance. Me and Robbie G, we were, he was John Major and I was Clinton. 2 black president and black prime minister, long before that became the reality. And so much more, dear family. We did a lot on that show, and that show sparked and captured the imagination of not only black people, by the way, because white people used to come up to us all the time, because what it was about the Real McCoy, it was really one of the first times that so-called African Caribbean people had, you know, the opportunity to make a program whereby we weren't trying to speak in a Jamaican accent accessible to white people. We were just saying it like it is, as raw as we possibly could. Not all of us were Jamaican. Eddie's Dominican, but, you know, and we had to have the Asian people in there as well, and that's a whole another story. But my point is that we made it as authentic as we could. And see, when you do that, everybody tunes in. White people tune in because it's authentic. But when you try and water the thing down to please everybody, you don't please anybody. See? So that's what the reason the Real McCoy was very hard hitting, because it was quite uncompromising in terms of, you know, promoting what you can loosely call, you can loosely call a black perspective, a black culture. It was very much that. But we had to fight the Mira Sayal, the Asian actress here. We had to fight her hard to stop her from trying to turn it into an Asian program. Believe me, she was a prolific writer and she was writing stuff all the time. But we had to keep it. It's black, man. You all are guests here. You see? But it was a real, I mean, there were so many different struggles on so many different levels. 5 series over 5 years, from 1991 to 1995, the Real McCoy ran.
And it's still on.
Still on now. I think it's still being shown on one of those Gold or one of those channels. Dear family, we got to put on costumes and play different characters, like this Fu Manchu lookalike called the Liberator. I call him the Liberator, who was a man from the East. who came to the BBC in West London to transform Damn Fool Man and Idiot Boy into conscious youth and sensible smuddy, sensible somebody. And at the same time, inspiring revolutionary change against the then incoming ragga and dancehall slack lyrics in the music, and engineering the defeat of the arch professor and music executive Raggastein and his monstrous creation and recording artist Ragga Star. I mean, family, if you could see what we did with these series of sketches. And in fact, I've been searching, trying to find a couple of the Raggastein sketches, but I can't find them anywhere. Can't find them. But I just didn't like this Damn Fool Man and Idiot Boy, and so I transformed them, which is what Master Farad Muhammad came from the East.
That's right,
and with the teachings that he gave to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he transformed us from one reality of destruction into another reality of our rising. And we depicted this in that series of sketches where, you know, at the time, the music that was really coming in was ragga music, and it was disgusting. It was horrible. Dancehall was all kinds of, I mean, and again, we had conscious youth and sensible smuddy. We had them challenge Ragga Star and defeat Ragga Star in an arena, like in a kind of sound clash, and conscious lyrics won out. But in reality, we know that conscious lyrics has taken a dive.
Yes.
And ragga and all these other things now dominate the airwaves and dominate what our young people are being exposed to. Dear family, I think we're doing quite well. We're getting there, and I hope all of this makes sense, and I hope you're enjoying what we are presenting to you this evening, dear family. While all this was going on, by the grace and blessings of Almighty God Allah, Sister Claudia and I were growing our family. I think you were pregnant there. We were growing our family, family. Huh?
Well, just fat.
No, you weren't fat. You were pregnant. Because in the end, the children are the future. And everything we do should be about laying a firm foundation and setting a good example for the generations to come, in order that they can declare, like the song says, the strife is over, the battle done. The victory of life is won. The song of triumph has begun. Hallelujah. You see, family, that's what we've got to do. We've got to be the people who really do this work, you know, that would revive our people and at the same time inspire the next generation to take it to a whole different level, because it's our time. It really is. This time period that we're living in, as rough as it may feel, as rough as it may seem, as difficult as things may be, it's, I always equate it to, you know, my wife was pregnant in this picture, but I always equate it to that process of giving birth, where, you know, sister can speak for herself, but I've been there on at least 4 occasions when she's been giving birth. And I'm telling you, and every woman is like this. To the sisters who are watching, you can bear me witness in the chat. Every woman during that process of labor gets to a point where she thinks, I can't do this. This is just, it's too painful. It's too hard. But you see, she pushes through and she gets through. And in every birth, there's pain and there's blood. And I'm telling you, family, the blood and the pain that you see on this planet right now, they are birth pangs. It is because a new reality is about to be born, you see? And, you know, that's just what goes with the territory. It's never going to be easy. It's not meant to be easy, you see? And it's, in fact, it's the process of pain and blood that the mother and the child have to endure and go through. That's what bonds them. And that's why it's dangerous, you know, if it becomes trendy to opt for cesareans and things like that. You know, they accuse David Beckham's wife of being too posh to push, but she denies that she ever said that. But you know, these tabloid newspapers make up these things, and a lot of these women, they're told that they have to have a cesarean, when in reality they don't need to have a cesarean.
Right. And Sister Ava Mohammed breaks down how just
out of without going through that process of birth.
All science.
Going through that birth canal, man. There's a tremendous amount of science involved in that process. See, God didn't make a mistake. No. See, when you're going through it, sister, you may be asking, why do I have to go through this? But there's a reason. There's a bonding process that's taking place. Right. It's showing you the value. Go ahead.
I always say to women who are pregnant, do you go to the toilet lying on your back? Ooh, no, so don't have a child lying on your back.
That's right. Upright. Yeah, my wife, Sister Claudia, when she's giving birth, you're either sort of kneeling or sort of squatting, you know, but upright, so that gravity is helping the baby to come out. Yeah. You know. My last daughter, she came out so quick, I felt like a goalkeeper. I had to catch her. I had to catch, man. Because the gravity is awesome. But if they got the women laying on their back with their legs, sometimes imagine they're still putting their legs in those things, in those stirrups or whatever they call them. And then you're pushing against the gravitational pull of the earth. Wow. 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 Family, I keep saying it, but I hope you are good. Also, those of you who want to make a donation to help us out financially, please look in the chat. You can see our PayPal is there. You know, whatever you can give, dear family, it really does help, because Satan does not want Brother Leo to eat. Okay, we must not eat. The family must go hungry. Everybody must starve. But Almighty God Allah lays a table in the midst of the enemy. Dear family, this is what it's all about to me. And I believe it is our primary job, after gaining a thorough knowledge of our own self, to then attempt the almost impossible task, not impossible, almost, of instilling in our own children the knowledge, principles, and the laws and statutes of God, the knowledge of their own selves, and the love of our own selves and people first, before anyone else. To my simple mind, that is real, tangible success. Family, if we can successfully teach and guide our children. You know, the children are very rebellious. All children are. Yes. And they may not seem like they really want to listen, but you have to be that kind of teacher, mother, father, who is relentless. Not in a wicked way. Not in you can't beat stuff into them. But what I'm saying is that you got to be consistent. And by the way, family, the best way you teach your children is by your example. Don't do things that you don't want them to do and then tell them, don't do that. Oh, do as I say, not as I do. Stop it. They're going to follow you, man, whatever you do. So be the best example and just be relentless in your example and in your teaching and in your guidance. And it may feel and it may seem at times that it's not going in. But if you lay that foundation in them, there's a particular time in their life when it will kick in, family. They may have to go off and do some experimenting and do what they do. You know, that's just the nature of the human being, unfortunately, especially in a world like this, where there are so many other influences. See? But yeah, I'm very proud. You know, these little ones, they're not small like that anymore. And we searched everywhere trying to find black dollies and things to give them, you know. Praise be to Allah. Dear family, we are doing pretty good for time. I started a business back in those days, which has since lapsed. The business has lapsed, but which I haven't completely given up on, selling alcohol-free drinks that taste and look a little like their alcoholic counterparts, but which are clean, healthy, and completely devoid of the stupefying ingredient, namely alcoholic spirits. Just imagine, family, for a minute, a social environment where one could have a nice meal and a pleasant drink while pregnant, or needing to drive home after, or flying an airline the next day without having to worry about a hangover or other negative effects. You know, because those of you who don't drink like me, and you know, you've been to those parties and they give you an orange juice, or sometimes you just feel so out. But wouldn't it be nice to be able to have a glass of champagne, but without that alcohol? You know, there's lots of brands now. There's lots of alcohol-free beverages that you can get that really are, you know, I'll make a confession to you. On a nice hot day when I'm working, because I do a lot of work outside. You know, I work on an allotment where we grow fruit and veg and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I do a lot of manual labor. But on a nice sunny hot day, I like nothing better than to have a glass of lager, beer, but it's alcohol-free, crisp and nice. The taste is fresh, clean, you know, but no alcohol, fam. You know, so I don't know. It may not appeal to everybody. I know one brother, when I first introduced him to it, he got very nervous.
Yeah, psychologically.
Yes, because he said when he was in the world, he used to drink, and he just didn't want to go there because it might bring back. Yes. But the fact is that it being devoid of alcohol, it really shouldn't trigger you in that way. But you have to be careful. You have to be careful because you don't want to go back. You want to go forward. That's where we want to go. Forward ever, backwards never. Dear family, we took the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Do you notice that I always say that? And I take the time to write those words down because we want to be very, very clear where we're coming from. See? We took the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught. See, because a lot of people say they got the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but they're not necessarily, you know, really following it. They want to quote it, but what are they doing? You see, but as taught, and I'll go further, as taught and exemplified by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we took it to the mother continent of Africa and the small country of the Gambia. And it was no surprise to our brothers. It was no surprise that our brothers and sisters were extremely receptive to this special and transformative word, full of light, life, and power. Myself and Sister Claudia, we actually had our honeymoon in the Gambia. And during our honeymoon in the Gambia, we started a study circle. You see, because that, you know, like with the teachings, I try never to be off duty.
That's right.
You see, it's just
Wherever
not.
we go.
Yeah, well, it's just, you know, that's why I don't like religion, you know. I don't like this Christianity that's practiced on a Sunday. And then every other day is just filth and disgusting behavior. But Sunday we get all holy. I don't like this so-called Islam where everybody gets holy on Friday and go to Jummah prayer. And then for the rest of the week, we're running an off license, selling alcohol to the people, or running some shop selling pork, or some news agents with filthy, dirty magazines on the top shelf. No, I don't like that kind of religion. I don't like no Judaism where we get all holy on Saturday, and then for the rest of the week we're slaughtering and killing people and trying to justify the unjustifiable. No, man. You know, the faith I believe in, the faith I want to follow, it's got to be practiced 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days a week. No time off. You're either it or you're not. You know, this thing where we can put on a costume and get holy, and then, you know, behind closed doors with somebody else. Stop it, family. I love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He said, I'm the same behind the door as I am in front of the door.
That's right.
That's the kind of faith we want, dear family. Now, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want you to overhear some of the conversations I may have with my wife in the privacy of our home. That's a husband and wife. We joke a lot, me and my wife. We play around. We have such a good time, beloved family. But that doesn't make you unholy by being a natural man and a natural woman within the confines of your own home with one another. And Almighty God Allah sees and hears all.
And we're still learning.
Absolutely. We're still growing, inshallah.
That's right.
Hundreds of us have been blessed to visit the home of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and to sit and partake of food in the National House of the Nation of Islam, and to listen to the minister at the dining table as he shared with us in this most intimate of settings, even more of his divine fountain of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Just look at those faces, family. There's your brother Leo there, but look at some of these faces. Look at the light. Look how calm and serene and happy. This is in the palace, in the home of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, where we were blessed to be
Have a meal.
Oh, and to have such a beautiful meal. Oh man. And the minister was so inspired when hundreds of us showed up from the UK. The minister is so humble.
Absolutely.
He was shocked. He said, I didn't know.
How do you get around? He said.
He asked us how we were getting around in Chicago. When we told him that we was driving, we had a convoy of 18 people carriers. 18 people carriers in a row driving through Chicago. That's how we were moving. That's how we were rolling. Okay. And man, it was so beautiful. So beautiful. And then the minister gave us all the name Muhammad, which is such a blessing. I mean, honestly, like I keep saying, I could stop and talk about these things and really go deep into significance and meaning and everything, but we just haven't got that kind of time, dear family. But I hope that you are all good.
Yeah, you'll have to answer that question when you finish Johnny Mitchell's. He keeps asking. So
what was Johnny asking?
How does the Honorable Elijah Muhammad explain Moses' splitting of the sea? Sorry to change it to start it.
Just very, very quickly on that, you know, this splitting of the sea, it's the Red Sea, okay? The Red Sea parting. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, through the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, teaches us that it's a metaphor. You see, it's not parting the ocean itself. The Red Sea is a sea of blood. It's getting the people through a bloodbath. That's what the parting of the sea of blood is all about. We're going to escape through a lot of death and destruction. In its simplest form, that's how you've got to begin to view that particular scripture. I hope that makes sense, Johnny, because that's really what it's about. It's not really about, you know, parting the ocean and you got these massive tidal wave of water sitting up and people just, that's just it's metaphoric.
Yeah.
Dear family, we got into trouble. I want you to hear me well. We got into trouble with the enemy because in 1997, we had the audacity We had the temerity. I want you to look up those words, man. Audacity and temerity, and the testicular fortitude to recognize a man fulfilling the role of a Jesus in our midst, and to go in the public and to honor him with the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. From that moment on, each of us who went onto that stage became a marked man. And the diabolical scheme to destroy each of us and our community was set in motion. There's Brother Leo looking at his minister carrying the myrrh. One of the brothers had the gold, another brother had the frankincense and the myrrh. The minister actually took the myrrh and he was dabbing it. He had such a wonderful time. He was so happy. But understand the significance of this event, dear family.
That's right.
I really want you to appreciate what happened on that day and how we became targets as a result of our recognition of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Dear family, I have to say to the enemy, as we begin to wrap up today, I have to say to the enemy that in 1999, you thought you had succeeded in obliterating the most active, vibrant, committed Nation of Islam community in the United Kingdom. But unfortunately for you, you're going to have to think again and try even harder, because it's now 2025 and we are still here, working, fasting, and praying to Almighty God Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad to bring us again, only this time stronger, wiser, and more faithful to his cause. Question. I want to ask a question to the enemy. Question to the internal enemy. I wonder if your paymasters will be as patient with you as our God, Allah, has been with us. You see, patience is a virtue. But does your master, Satan, have such? Dear family, we are going to continue to give this message to the black man. I am so thankful and grateful to Allah. I'm so happy. I can't believe it. I managed to get through in the time period that I wanted it to be. And I pray, family, that you got something out of this evening. It wasn't meant to be about, oh, Leo Muhammad, some, focus on me in that way. It's not like that. It's to tell you something about the history of how you now come to have an imagination show, where we're coming from, what it's all about, who is influencing this, why we do what we do. And I thank you so much, beloved family, for being with us for another week. And
blessed, we're all blessed.
yeah, we've entered this new year, and let's see what it has in store for us.
That's right.
We don't say Happy New Year. We say a blessed new year, maybe a peaceful new year. We pray that Allah will bless each of us to get through this new year. Right. And we're going to work hard and diligently to do our very best, to be our very best. And we will endeavor to keep bringing you as much light and as much information as we can. And we're just extremely thankful and grateful to Almighty God Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad for giving us this opportunity to be called a Muslim. I've got to say, family, please don't think that a Muslim has got anything to do with some nationality as such, some, you know, ethnicity as such. It's really not that. A Muslim is just a righteous man or woman whose desire is to do the will of God. That's all a Muslim is. A Muslim is one who submits his or her will entirely to do God's will. That's what Jesus meant when he said, not my will, but thy will be done. God's will be done. You see, and God, the God we're talking about is not a spook.
No.
It's not a ghost. This is a man. Just like I'm a man and you're a man and you're a woman. He said, ye are all gods, children of the Most High God. That's who we are. And we've got gifts that if we would just cultivate them, we would see that God character coming out of us, man. And others will be able to see it too.
That's right.
And your enemy will see it. And the enemy, he's terrified of God. He don't like when God makes himself manifest. He loves it when we mimic him and become little Satans.
That's right.
Little devils. Oh, he can deal with that all day long.
Right.
See? But he can't deal with God, family. So thank you.
Thank you, Brother
Sister
Leon.
Claudia Muhammad.
Thank you very much. Praise be to Allah.
You know.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you all for tuning in. Once again, as I said earlier, we are all blessed to have another chance to change our lives. Each day that we are blessed to see another day, let's try and self-improve ourselves. Yeah, that's the only way we'll make a change in this world and bring it down, is by changing ourselves, focusing on God's, feeding on God's words, his knowledge and wisdom, but not only feeding on it, but the key is to live it. We have to live that righteous life, and let's really strive to go for it. You know, some days we'll be down, some days we'll be up, but the key is to keep going, keep going, keep going. As it's dark, there's always light afterwards. So let's just keep going. But keep moving. Don't forget to tune. Keep moving. Yeah. Don't forget, tune in to the Final Call radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I can guarantee you 100%, whatever trials you are going through in your life, you will get peace.
It will be addressed.
Oh, it will definitely be addressed. Yes. Definitely be addressed. So tune into Final Call Radio, get the app, download it on your mobile phone, your computer, your tablet. As I said, there's no excuse for not knowing today. Don't forget, subscribe to the Final Call newspaper. You can get it at the hard copy, or you can do it electronically, digitally. So, and it's so cheap, the price of that newspaper, for truth. You know, come on, let's all strive to subscribe to the Final Call newspaper. Let's help build this nation. It's for all of us. Come on, this is our time. 25, Surah 25, the discrimination. Yes. Let's really strive hard to build this world that we all desire. We all complain, oh, it's so hard and everything. No, but we can change it. We can change it. We have the tools to change it. Don't think, yes. Was he going to say something?
No, I was just going to say next week we'll go into a little bit of that 25, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah. And don't forget to log on to NOI.org, where you can tune into the regular lectures in Chicago, and you can find previous lectures if you've missed one, and there are hundreds of lectures from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and other student ministers. But you know, let's really be grateful for what we have. We may want more, but be grateful for the small and the big. Be
careful for the little that you have, and you will get much more.
Because somebody's always worse off than us.
Absolutely.
So let's really be grateful for the things that we do have. And the ultimate goal in life is the oneness of God, to have that peace of mind, right. Not to have always conflicting. When you've got God's mind, it's just one mind, just good thinking, righteousness. Let's go all strive for that for 2025 and beyond. Sounds strange saying 2025, yes. But thank you all so much. Thank you for taking your time to make a comment, and those who watch the show after, thank you so much for your comments. We do read those comments. We're just blessed. Thank you, family, for tuning in wherever you are on the planet Earth. Thank you so much. Brother Leo, did you have something to say?
No, just going to finish off. Thank you.
Thank
May
you.
Allah bless you as I greet you, as I found you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Take care, family.